Good evening. Welcome to the June meeting of the Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees. Before we begin this evening, we'll just go around the room and introduce ourselves and share something we're reading if we care to. So Amy, how about if we start with you?
My name's Amy O'Shaughnessy, and gosh, my book club just finished a book, but I'm going to need a minute to remember what it is, so you can come back to me in just a second.
All right. My name is Chris Harrison, and I'm currently reading The Enigma Girls by Candace Fleming.
My name's Josh Wolf. I'm the Director of Public Services here. I just finished The Remarkable Rescue at Milkweed Meadow, a middle grade novel by Elaine Dumopoulos.
Kathy Loser. I'm reading Scott Carson, who is really Michael Carita's latest book, Lost Man's Lane. Mm-hmm. Scary.
I just finished The Ministry of Time by Catherine somebody, and it was great.
This evening, some things on our agenda will not be happening because we do not have a quorum tonight, and because of the storms yesterday, we have a few board members that weren't able to make it tonight. So we won't be doing the consent agenda items. We will hold on that till the next meeting, but we will go ahead and do the monthly director's report, and Josh Wolf is going to give that since Greer Carson is absent this evening.
Thank you. We're making additional improvements to our children's, teen, and adult manga print collections, thanks to the leadership of our librarian selectors. Hoopla use continues to increase, with streaming audiobooks emerging as one of our most popular collections. We'll be looking at making some adjustments to our monthly Hoopla access model in response to the continued and growing popularity of this platform. May saw a number of unique and well-received library programs with librarians and library assistants making connections with patrons of all ages, surrounding everything from children's and teen programs to digital creativity, outreach services, adult services, and both of our branch libraries, although the Southwest staff had to present their programs at remote locations. There are some wonderful anecdotes in the director's report under Goal 2, well worth reading. We're doing important service work on our 2 downtown public elevators, which should hopefully wrap up very shortly. Our teen librarians have done some great outreach work this past month, including visits to Ellettsville and Bloomington area schools and providing tours of our facilities and collections. And finally, Children's Services as well visited many area schools to promote the summer reading program in May. It's been going great guns all month. For all audiences, especially adults. We're looking forward to reporting more about that next month. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I should know this, but what kind of theme do we have for summer reading this year?
I'm sorry?
What theme do we have for summer reading?
It's space. Yes.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Greer? Or it's not for Greer, I'm sorry, for Josh.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Habit. All right, seeing none, we will move on to the old business, and this is not an action item, but we will just get some updates on the Southwest closure, which will hopefully be no longer a closure on Monday.
Yes, yeah. I'm very pleased to remind everybody that the Southwest branch will reopen this Monday, July 1st, even though they are without power today. As Greer mentioned at previous meetings, there was an extended insurance subrogation process. I'm happy to report that the end of that is finally in sight. During the week of June 10th, staff from nearly every department of the library rolled up their sleeves and reshelved the entire collection. It was a heady experience. Many of us felt our age, but it was an exciting moment as well. Felt kind of like a barn raising of sorts. We got it on so fast. Building services, led by Brian Leibacher, has been nothing short of amazing, working with our contractors, completing a lot of boots on the ground work to get everything in place, cleaning and arranging the furniture and shelves, to washing all the dishes, pots, and pans in the teaching kitchen. IT also has done superb work getting all the public and staff computers up. We've also taken the opportunity to make a few improvements. The teen service desk and children's service desk were damaged in the flood. So the new ones we're replacing them with are a little bit bigger, should accommodate our young patrons' books and things that they bring up. We changed a few of the colors and patterns in the flooring along the north side of the building, which you'll see when you visit. And we added a self-check station in the children's department because children love doing that. Yeah, we will be accepting reservations for the meeting room at Southwest beginning July 1st and for the teaching kitchen beginning August 1st. And library programming will resume on July 8th with an inaugural Tiny Tattoos story time. So if any of you guys saw pictures of Southwest when it was really devastated, I urge you all to pay us a visit next week. It's really risen from the ashes. It looks really great, yeah.
That's wonderful news, and we very much look forward to having that branch back. Any other questions or comments for Josh? All right, seeing none. Our new business items will not be action items tonight because we're unable to vote on them, but we will get some updates from Becky Throckmorton. So Becky, if you will update us on the temporary COVID leave policy and the pilot policy proposal about contagious illness leave.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So we are proposing that we do not extend the temporary COVID leave. That's a policy we've had in place that we've renewed every 6 months since the pandemic started. With the CDC guidelines changing and the pandemic officially coming to an end, we think that it's time to end that temporary policy and not renew coming up in July. Do you have questions on that? No? Okay. We do really appreciate the board approving that for as long as you have. It has been very meaningful for staff and has been something that's really kept us from having COVID spread just among staff members and has given staff a lot of peace of mind. So thank you for doing that. And we recognize it's longer than most employers had extended that out. So the other one that we have is the pilot proposal for a contagious illness policy. So with taking away our temporary COVID leave, we recognize that that does leave a number of our 15 to 18 hour staff who do not have benefits. So they don't accrue any personal or sick time. It leaves them in a little bit of a bind. And so we're proposing that we do for the remainder of 2024, a pilot program where 15 to 18 hour staff would have access to a set number of hours of contagious illness time that they can take off. So if they fall ill with something that could potentially spread, so flu, COVID, anything like that somebody could get and pass on to someone else, that they would be able to use 25 hours to stay home and get paid for that time. It would work very similarly to our paid COVID leave policy. It would just be for those 15 to 18 hour staff and would be exclusively for contagious illness. Do you have questions on that policy? I don't want to read you the whole document. We just have our reasoning for it and then just sort of the outline of how it would work as a test policy.
Yeah, no questions. It seems straightforward in my reading of it and seems like a very reasonable thing to provide for staff.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just for the staff member who's ill. It's not for caring for a family member who's ill, correct?
Correct, yeah. And that's the same way that our COVID leave has been utilized by staff. And so that's why we're proposing doing essentially the same thing, just for those folks.
Cool, sounds good.
Bridge between the two.
Yeah.
And great to pilot it for 6 months and find out if there's any adjustments that need to be made.
Yeah. So, and then I did also want to give an update. I know it's not on the agenda, but while we're talking about health and things that impact our staff, the Everside Clinic had some updates that happened that you might have seen in the news. And so I just wanted to provide a quick update. So our staff had access to the Everside Clinic that was part of the county health over across from Taco Bell. I know that's a bad milestone for a health clinic, but everybody knows where that is. The county has changed providers, and so our staff are still going to remain, our contract is directly with Everside, and so our staff are still going to get care by the same care team that they've been seeing. It's just going to move to their 2nd Street location. And so that was the city's exclusive location before. And so we're going to be moving. Our staff are just going to have access over there. Everside and JA Benefits have been really great about sharing information with us. There's information that's going to be mailed to all of our staff who have access to the clinic. And then they're also going to give us some information to share on our intranet with staff so that they know where to go and who their care team is and what the hours are as that change gets a little bit closer. So, any questions?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
All right. And next, unfortunately, we were not able to go out and view the Ellettsville branch library, which we were looking forward to, but they are without power right now. But we still get to hear Chris Hostler give us an update on the Ellettsville branch.
Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Chris Hostler, the Ellettsville branch manager, and tonight I'd like to give you a brief recap of the past year at the branch and then speak about some new projects and initiatives we have in the works. It is disappointing that we didn't get to host you out there tonight, but we'll get you next year, I'm sure. So last fall, our department bid farewell to our children and teen services librarians. Pretty much at the same time, after we'd had them for nearly 5 years. They both took jobs out of state, and we were very fortunate to have a strong candidate pool for their positions and welcomed our Children's Services Librarian Darcy Stricker and our Teen Services Librarian Decker Cavosi. They've been with us now since September, and we are super excited about them. Darcy has built up a strong following in her preschool programs and introduced both STEAM programming and a children's gardening club that really ties into our branch's garden initiative that we've had going for the last 5 years. She has taken on responsibility for planning and assembling our fantastic lobby displays and being our liaison with the downtown children's department to help ensure that we have consistent services for our youngest patrons at the Ellettsville branch. Decker, our teen services librarian, has wasted no time in increasing the number and attendance of our teen programs that we offer in our teen space, with an emphasis on understanding the kinds of interests our teens share and tailoring the programs to match those. We've seen a robust turnout overall in the teen space and the programs, and recently Decker has also been working on improving our teen space with a wide variety of art pieces that we had a little voting contest for the teens to pick out what we wanted to put up. And it's really made the space just more inviting and vibrant. Both Decker and Darcy have made strong inroads in reestablishing connections with Richland Bean Blossom School Corporation that went into hiatus during the pandemic, and they've also been working with Ellettsville Boys and Girls Club location. Decker's been running a monthly craft program on site at Edgewood High School and promoting our branch programs. And Darcy has been doing school visits as well, including a marathon day at the primary and secondary schools promoting summer reading. We're thrilled to have them both as part of our Ellettsville team. We're also fortunate to have Adult Services Librarian Stacy Terhune at Ellettsville. Stacy has been building a strong social component into her craft programs and book clubs. That's an element of programming that we're really finding adults are craving. They just don't have as many opportunities to socialize with people outside of their immediate families or work. And so we've really put a focus onto those with her programs. She's seen huge turnouts at her craft and plant swaps. We do one of those each year at the Ellettsville branch. As each department does every year, the Ellettsville staff discussed departmental goals for 2024 and settled on two major initiatives: maximize use of our limited collection space at the branch and plan for a renovation of staff office and workspaces. Working with Content Development Department this year, we've ensured that the collection space of the branch is used efficiently and maintains a fresh inflow of new materials. And this entails working closely with that department to more frequently assess and weed sections of the collection to bring in a greater volume of new materials. It's also allowed us to locate titles that are in need of updates in terms of the edition and to add new collections such as the Espanol Juvenil and manga-inspired comics. Josh talked briefly about manga-inspired comics. There's the new manga collections. Both staff and patrons have been thrilled to see more space on the shelves for browsing and a fresher and more eye-catching collection. Turning to the building itself, we've begun to assess a number of changes in the non-public areas to address shortages in storage and workspaces. So that part of the building was not touched really during the renovation of 2018 and 2019. And we are finding that we are in the great position to have more staff and just more overall traffic, and we need more storage and workspace. So we're currently reviewing staff needs for both and hope to have the scope of possible changes to these areas defined and a timeline for making changes by the end of this calendar year. As part of the process, we're also considering making changes to the location of our public service desks and the hold pickup shelves. And we do have one building improvement project that has already been completed. It came to us via a patron suggestion to add a paved pathway connecting the sidewalk of Temperance Street with our front entrance. If you're familiar with the branch, Temperance Street, aka State Road 46, is right alongside the building, and there is an ingress for traffic to come through, but there is no sidewalk connecting that public sidewalk to the building, so you're either trudging through about 15-20 feet of grass or mud depending on the weather, or you are taking your chances walking through that entrance for traffic. So Patron had a great point, and we were happy to be able to complete the work on that project, including adding a new bike rack in May. And this allows folks to be able to avoid having to use a busy ingress to the parking lot. Patron who suggested the improvement reached out to us afterwards and had this message: I just wanted to thank you for getting this sidewalk added. My kids have been so excited about it. I'm excited to have a safer path to take them to the library. So overall, it's been a year of welcoming new staff at the branch and new patrons too. We picked up quite a few from Southwest. We are excited that they're going to be back open on July 1st, but we hope they'll come and visit us still sometimes. And planning for the future. So thank you for your time tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this point. Okay.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate hearing about all the wonderful things that are going on at Ellettsville. All right, we have come to the portion of our meeting for public comment. Do we have any members of the public that would like to come forward and address the board? Seeing none, do we have well, I don't know if we really even have a motion to adjourn. Anybody against adjourning? So, otherwise, we are adjourned.